Welcome along to Betting Weekly Premier League show. You with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. And suddenly, fellas, we've got joint favourites for the title. Nigel, Liverpool, plus 175. Arsenal, plus 175. Both are 2 wins from 2. But Liverpool look a little bit shaky at the back. Is it a surprise to you that we've got joint jollies? Have Arsenal been that much better than Liverpool? What do you think?
Good morning to you both. I think, obviously, we're only 2 matches in. And I think we've got to do is just calm ourselves down a little bit. We're going to come on to some matches in this show where we're going to say we've changed our opinions on football on teams in the Premier League after just 2 matches. We've been there before with Arsenal, haven't we, this season? I'm going to mention that again in the show as well. Liverpool defensively, like you say, all over the place. But if they buy Isaac, and that saga continues at the moment, which is obviously a distraction. But if they do buy Isaac, then suddenly they go market favourites again. I 100% agree on that. I think there's a little bit of... in the camp at the moment, that is a distraction from their performances. But one thing that isn't a distraction is their defensive frailties at the moment. They look all over the place. Arsenal, on the other hand, yet to concede. Gyökeres scoring 2 goals. I was at the Emirates, and I know you were there as well, Dan. You couldn't fail to not be impressed with what you saw from Arsenal. But we are 2 matches in.
No knee-jerk reactions from Nigel. That's what we like from Mr. Seeley. How's New York, by the way? Remiss of me not to ask you.
It's all right. This room is very, very tight, and I'm literally stuck very, very close. Yeah. I've got a table in front of me, and I feel like I'm all over the place. So if you see me bend down quite a bit, I've got notes and various things. Well, not in my own surroundings. I don't like not being in my own surroundings.
Where's Calvert? Is he in the cupboard?
He's gone home. I've taken on the battle, and he's gone back to London.
Jack, have Arsenal done enough to be joint favourites? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of the 2, isn't it? I think there's that frailty that we talked about with Liverpool that's kind of put a bit of unease in their strength in the market, and a couple of very different but very good performances from Arsenal. That one where they weren't at their best but showcased their defensive solidity. Good goalkeeper, consistent goalkeeper, which is few and far between these days, it seems, and that really strong defence. Plenty of options there as well. I think the additions to Arsenal as well comes at the right time. Possibly Odegaard out, possibly Saka out, or definitely Saka out. As they're coming in, great chance for him to showcase what he's about, and potentially, as the other lads that they've brought in, we've got the opportunity. Madueke, where's he going to fit in this Arsenal team? Well, he's now got a chance to show what he can do in that strong position. So, Gyökeres, you got a striker, you pay big money for him, you want him to score goals. We always said he's probably going to score goals against the lesser ranked sides in the league. Well, he's gone and done that. 2 goals there. And as I say, with that Liverpool frailty coming on to that, we'll see him possibly up against Konaté here. That could be a very interesting matchup if he can pin himself over to him. But yeah, I think it's a combination of the 2. And I think probably about right at this moment in time.
Yeah, well, Arsenal and Liverpool meet, of course, at Anfield this weekend. Best bets from the boys come a little bit later in the show. Let us know in the comments section who you're betting, what you're betting over the course of the weekend, and whether you think that Liverpool and Arsenal should be sharing favouritism ahead of match day 3 of the Premier League. First up on this third weekend is an early Saturday game for US bettors, 7:30 a.m. They'll be underway. Chelsea against Fulham. It's a West London derby here, and we have got Jack's 1-unit play. Chelsea have been bet a little bit at minus 205, but we're not quite sure about Cole Palmer. Colwill, we know, he's not going to play. And Fulham have twice come back to draw 1-1. Should Chelsea be short price favourites? Jack, what's your 1-you play?
Yeah, my 1-you play is going down the prop angle rather than on that market in particular. I'm going for João Pedro to score or assist at minus 112 from a 1-unit. I think given Chelsea's record over recent weeks, given their record over the last 19 league games, just 1 defeat across that period of time, winning 12 of them, won 8 of the last 10, you'd suggest at home they deserve it. They've got a point to prove, though. Obviously, they were poor in that opener against Crystal Palace on home soil. And then they ripped apart West Ham, having got a goal down early. But as we've kind of probably going to allude to a little bit later on, and as we've mentioned already, West Ham look in a terrible place at the moment. So how much value can you put on that particular performance? But you can't argue what João Pedro did that night. 1 goal, 2 assists. And I think he's the one player that I think that they could actually have found someone that can fill that void if Cole Palmer doesn't play. Obviously, he went into that number 10 role behind the striker. Delap came in up top, and he was exceptional, really, to be fair. Carried on from where he left off in the Club World Cup. And as I say, I don't think he's the sort of the player that will go, well, I don't mind Cole Palmer not playing because I can now go and show what I can do here. So it was very impressive. So I think with Fulham, you tend to expect them to concede, but they do tend to score. We've said before about them being both teams to score kings, really, in the Premier League. They've only failed to score in 3 of the last 20 across all those away games. Sometimes they've left it a little bit late, like they did in that first away game. But these two sides met obviously twice last year, with the away side winning 2-1 on both occasions. So you tend to see there's generally goals here over the longer period of time. Chelsea have tend to hold sway. So I feel that they should come out on top on this one as well. And so I think with João Pedro being the main man, if Cole Palmer is declared unfit, and I do wonder with the international break coming up on the horizon, is it worth the risk for Chelsea to start him in this game and he gets a serious injury? It's a groin injury. It's not like a little niggle. That could be quite a serious one. So he might well make the bench if they need him, but I've got a feeling that they might well look to kind of wrap him in cotton wool, possibly pull him out of the internationals and then keep him fresh for when they come back. And in that case, I think this João Pedro price will contract, especially as the fact that you would assume he would then be on penalty taking duties ahead of, obviously, instead of Cole Palmer. And of course, Fulham did give a penalty away last week as well. So he's also managed to assist and score last season against Fulham across the 2 games. Of course, he was playing for Brighton then, but he'll take that good record into this game. So I think at -112, for probably their most consistent and best attacker over the lot since he's joined the club, I like that play a lot, especially with the possibility or probability that Cole Palmer won't feature.
Team news could be interesting, as Jack points out. Nigel, what do we think? I mean, both teams to score, yes, to me, at -127. Is max bet material for me, as Jack has just pointed out. He seems to get it every single time with Fulham. They're massively popular and massively profitable. What have you got for us here? You slight doubter with Chelsea with no Palmer potentially?
Well, I think as soon as the team news came out the other day on Palmer weren't in it, I thought that's a game changer. I'll back under 2.5 goals. They've done me money, So I've got absolutely no doubt that Chelsea got the squads to compete. A lot of people still think Chelsea are in the title race. I know it's only 2 games, but a lot of people I know, shrewdies, I think they're a bit of value at the price. They're the biggest underachievers on the XG metrics in the first 2 matches of the season. They were brilliant in the first match. They created chance. I think they had 19 shots in the first match against Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace defended brilliantly. Only any other given day they would have won that match. You were sitting there saying this is a 3-team title race. I just think that Chelsea got too much from an attacking threat. Fulham, for me, offer goals, but I think the extra strength that Chelsea have, and if Palmer doesn't start, they can bring him off the bench and change the game as well here. So I'm looking at a Chelsea angle. I think Chelsea will be too strong for Fulham. I still think the jury's out on Fulham. They haven't bought anybody really of any note. The manager hasn't committed yet to the club, despite being unbeaten in 2 matches. The first match papered over the cracks against Brighton. Brighton should have won that easily. They should have been dead and buried before they looked at the late equaliser. I'm going to go for it, and to be honest with you, the way that Manchester United started, we're talking to Manchester United later, they should have put the game to bed before Fulham got into that as well. So they've ridden their luck a little bit, but I think their luck's going to come unstuck here. Fulham have a good record. Last season they won here, but prior to that they hadn't won since 2006 in the Premier League. If you look at Fulham on the road last season, in 23 road matches, Fulham scored in 20 of them. Found to score in just 3. That was in every competition, not just the Premier League, in all competitions. So my angle here is to boost up the price of Chelsea on the money line at -205, and I'm going to bet Chelsea to win and both teams to score. And for that, you'll get +185. So there's a bigger way of getting with Chelsea, but I think Chelsea will be far too strong. But Fulham will, if you look at their statistics, they do usually score on the road.
The other plus point for that as well, just to jump in, is of course Chelsea have had a complete free week this week, which is unusual for them. That obviously won't be the case later in the season, whereas Fulham have had that cup commitment where they have used a few of their first team starters as well. So that's something to bear in mind this week, where, of course, not all the Premier League sides have been playing in that competition.
10 a.m. fixture we can talk about next, which is Spurs against Bournemouth. Just some quick leans from the boys here. Nigel, Spurs are -148. Bournemouth are +340. They were +140 favourites for this game last season. It was squeezed in between Europa League games, but even so, I mean, we buying into Spurs? Are we backing them at minus money?
I wouldn't. Well, I think they'll win the game. Would I back them at -148? I'm not so sure. I think again there's a better angle to go. Tottenham haven't conceded yet this season, which is unlike Tottenham. But what they have done is they've started fast on the Thomas Frank, got out the traps early, got an early goal, 10 minutes in the first game of the season, won the lap at a tricky home match against Burnley, scored in the first half at the Etihad, put the game to bed before half-time. And I think that's what Frank does. He does it at Brentford. We used to always, a couple of seasons ago, would always be betting Brentford to score in the first half. And I think Tottenham will start off fast here against a Bournemouth side that we know have got an attacking threat. Defensively, they're a little bit, you've got to give them some, give them some credit for it. They've lost their whole back defence to best clubs in Europe. So they are going to go through a transition stage. I think Tottenham will edge it, but I do think Bournemouth offer a goal for it. Evan Nielsen, Semenyo got goals in them. I'm going to go for Tottenham again. Exactly the same bet as the Chelsea match. Tottenham to win and both teams to score. Yes, plays 170 with Bet Rivers. I like that.
Yeah, nice plus money plays from the boys, leans from you. We've got another one again, prop Jack from you here. Spurs, who did beat City again last game, and obviously there's a lot of confidence behind Thomas Frank's side at the moment. Is it going to continue? What have you got?
Yeah, I've also on this on the insider duty as well. So my pick on who might well win this and what angle of attack to take is in that, which is obviously coming out this weekend. So obviously subscribe if you haven't done already. But yeah, they've made a great start. And so that win against City was something of a statement to say we are actually here to be taken seriously. Not the fact just winning, but also keeping the clean sheet as well, which, as you said, has not been very, very Spurs-like over the last kind of couple of years, certainly. With Bournemouth, I think, rightly, defensively, understandably so as well. They've been a little bit vulnerable. They obviously lost in midweek to Brentford. Iraola said that was a step backwards. They did beat Wolves and kept a clean sheet, but most of the second half was against 10 men. So I just feel that Spurs are a real strong side at the moment, especially under Frank. That confidence is there as well. Pedro Porro seems to thrive in that role, and that's my bet for this particular game. Pedro Porro to score or assist at plus 250, generally on all their free kicks, on all their corners on that side of the park as well. Bournemouth do leak a lot of crosses in from their left-hand side, so where Porro will operate as well. And we've noticed with Spurs, they have been trying to get the ball into the box a lot more than what we've seen before as well. So Porro plays a massive part in that. And so Spurs rank 5th for crosses, Porro 5th amongst the players. You can see where the threat's coming from. So I'm going to take him to score or assist in this one at plus 250 as a lean.
Just a couple of leans from the boys for that one. We have got Nigel's 2U play in the next game that we look at. This is Sunderland against Brentford, another 10 a.m. Stateside kickoff here. When the bookmakers priced this one up at Nigel, which was prior to Matchday 2 in the Premier League, Sunderland were the favourites off the back of that really good Matchday 1 win over West Ham. But suddenly, Sunderland have lost a couple. Brentford have won a couple, and it's changed round a little bit here. I mean, it's almost each or two, but Brentford are the Jollies. What do you make of this one? You got your 2U play.
Yeah, I think this is, this is a classic knee-jerk reaction to start the season that we can see. There's a few matches in this card here where if you asked me last week the outcome of the match, I'll give you a very, very different outcome than what I do this week. And the market here is summed this up perfectly. This time last week, Brentford were an underdog. The line has flipped completely. Sunderland now the underdog at plus 180. Brentford are plus 150. I got a feeling here, though, that both managers in this early season, both of them know they're going to be in for a struggle. I think both of them will be absolutely delighted with a point in this match. Have 4 points, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat to start 3 matches in the Premier League. I think that they will be delighted with it. We all thought Sunderland were going to have a brilliant season after that opening day win, but probably was it because West Ham are so poor rather than Sunderland being any great? I think it's more that rather than Sunderland being great. Then they go to Burnley and get beat 2-0. Home advantage and winning home matches is crucial for a lot of these teams at the bottom of the table. And you're going to see massive different run of results home and away. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League who are going to do well at home, not so well away from home. And these two fit that example exactly the same. I played under 2.5 goals in the Forest match in the first game as my 2U pick. Done me money. I'm not giving up. I'm going back straight into the same bet. Under 2.5 goals. Sunderland beat Brentford here. Brentford, obviously, after that defeat, played very well defensively against Aston Villa. 1-0 win there. They went and kept the clean sheet again at Bournemouth, which is no mean feat, even though Bournemouth made the changes. Defensively, Keith Andrews has worked on it. One thing you would say as a manager, he's good at organisation with his set pieces that he's done. He was a set piece coach. He's organised defensively. He was a defensive midfield player in his career as well. I think they'll work on the defence. I think this will be a very low-scoring game, and I think both teams will be absolutely chuffed with a point here and get 4 points after 3 matches in the Premier League for what's going to be a difficult season for both teams. So under 2.5 goals, -125, my 2U pick.
Yeah, Sunderland made 11 changes in their game against Huddersfield. They lost on penalties in the League Cup, and Brentford made 9 when they beat Bournemouth, but maybe were a little fortunate to do so. Nigel's gone under without going all winner takes all. For those that remember that show, this is an American-facing show. I'm sure there's an American equivalent. I'll have to look it up. Difference of opinion here, Jeffrey. Jack, what have you got?
Jeffrey, yes.
Was it Jeffrey?
Yeah. I think it was. It does ring a bell.
Jeffrey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, go on.
It's either that or Rainbow, in it. But look, I think, this is certainly not a strong opinion for me. So I've gone over 2.5 goals. I think there's a fraction of value in it for me. But as I said, it's plus 100. I think it's two ways you look at it. The way Nigel said there, that they definitely don't want to be losing this game, or they mark it down as going, this is a winnable one. Certainly for Sunderland at home, like we saw against West Ham, 40,000 supporters behind them. Going forward, we saw how poor Brentford were at the start of last season on the road. So they'll look to try and capitalise on that. And we saw how poor they were on the road against Forest on the opening weekend of the season. So this one's a little bit. Will we see the right version of each team stand up, because they've had a bit of a mixed bag to begin with. So we'll see a little bit more on this one. I just looked for a little bit of Brentford's record, and of course, a lot of this would say, well, they had Mboma, then they had Visser, then they've scored in 9 straight Premier League games. Obviously scored in the last couple, even without those big hitters that we talked about. A run of 7 straight wins against the newly promoted sides as well, with 27 goals featuring in those games, at just a fraction under 4. So, I think an early goal obviously will completely open this one up. But I say not a strong opinion for me, but I feel there's a little bit of value in over 2.5 goals for me, and I'm taking that as my lean.
Just the lean on the overs to you from Nigel on the unders.
Make
Where
of
do
that
you
what
stand?
you will.
Let us know in the comments. Team Jack, Team Nigel. Wolves against Everton next. What's the record when you two have gone head to head? We had a little bit of thing going, didn't we, early last season?
Yeah. I think I've got the edge on it. I think I've got the.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
I think you clawed a bit back last year, but I think that definitely.
So there was a little period where you went head to head for a little while. Anyway, Wolves against Everton next up. Nigel's a 1U play here. Wolves are plus 150. Everton are plus 190. Wolves yet to win in the Premier League, of course, but they did beat West Ham in the League Cup. I thought Everton were fairly workmanlike against Mansfield in the game where most of the fans couldn't get in the stadium, but they're away at Molineux this time around. Nigel, 1U, what you got?
Well, again, I mean, this is the contrasting form of teams at home and teams away. Everton are going to be that prime example. I mean, the place was rocking for the first match of the season in their new home. You know, that 2-0 win against Brighton, they were brilliant. Straight off the front foot, brilliant. And then they were awful against Leeds. But I do think Everton are just going about their business well. I think some of the signings they've done this season have been very, very good. Obviously, Jack Grealish was brilliant on his return for his debut. Should have played in the opening day of the season. Dewsbury Hall, I think, is going to be one of the signings of the season for what they paid for him. Tyler Dibling as well for 40 million could turn out to be a very, very good signing. They're getting some good players at good prices, and I'm keen on Everton this season. I'm massively anti-Wolves as well. Very, very anti-Wolves this season. I said it in the preview show. They were one of my teams to get relegated. They haven't scored a goal in the Premier League. I know they beat West Ham 3-2, but I mean, we'll come on to West Ham in a minute. But they haven't scored a goal. 4-0 home defeat against Man City in the last match. Obviously, a 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth as well. 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth as well. I just got a feeling that Wolves are in trouble, big trouble. And I've got a feeling the manager might decide to walk away. He's got a history of doing it. The other thing is that record I've said all the way, and it's my last chance to get that in, the record in August. They've only had one win in 22 matches in August since they've been returned in the Premier League, and we're still just in the month of August for this match here. Yep. Everton won 4-0 at Goodison Park last season. It was a 1-1 draw here as well. Everton, to me, just an underrated side, doing well. I think they have a good season. Wolves are on the downward spiral, and I think Everton here get something from this match. I'm going to go for Everton on a draw no bet line. I just think that Everton get it, and the price of Everton on a draw no bet is plus money. It's plus 103. I think that midfield, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall and Tyler Dibling is good. It's better than what Wolves have got offering at the moment. I don't see Wolves having many goals in this team. Everton do. Obviously, they're lacking a striker, Everton, but that creativity they have in midfield, I think, and you've also got, they've got a very good defence, good goalkeeper. They could grind out a draw if they need to. I forgive them the performance against Leeds, because Leeds' first match at home in the Premier League, that's going to be a tough atmosphere, and it's going to be a tough thing. But I think Everton have a good season, and at home, they're going to be very hard to beat in that stadium. This one's on the road. Wolves don't win in August. Everton get something. Plus 103, Everton draw no bet.
Yeah, your lean sort of buys into that as well, doesn't it, Jack?
It does, yeah. I was going to put Everton up as well, and I just went for something slightly different. Everton over 1.5 team total at plus 180. So obviously we get 2 goals there. And it doesn't really matter what Wolves do, but I'm with Nigel. I want to fade Wolves, and I'm very keen on Everton, especially with the new business that they've done. Spent over $100 million on some real top talent, and obviously Grealish in on loan is a superb pickup. Diblin will be very exciting. He was kind of dubbed the new Grealish, wasn't he, last season? Much to do with the way he kind of glides about the pitch. But I think Ndiaye was one player that Nigel's not mentioned yet to add into that mix as well. They've got a real lot of where they've lacked in the last couple of seasons in those forward areas. They've now got some real technical talent in there, not just a battering ram or an energy player like a Beto. So we'll see what they're doing. Obviously, they brought in the Barry as well, which to see how, if he can get off the mark. But the key thing for Wolves as well is, they haven't scored in the Premier League yet. They do look a real poor side. And Strand Larsen's today come out saying that he wants to make that move. He wants to leave the club. And he looks realistically their only threat in a striking area at this moment in time. So if they sanction that move, or he forces that move to Newcastle, they're in severe trouble with not many days left in the transfer window. So we'll have to see how that one pans out. But yeah, Everton's strong on the road at the back end of last season. And as I say, they've were unfortunate a bit against Leeds, but this is a polar opposite. That Leeds atmosphere at Ellen Road compared to what could well quickly turn if Wolves don't start well here. Everton won last 3 of the last 5 on the road. So yeah, I'm going to go with Everton here over 1.5 team total against one of the worst sides in the league for expected goals against in Wolves.
Speaking of bad sides, Manchester United versus Burnley next we can take a look at here. Jack's got a 2U play on this one. I just want to ask Nigel first before we get Jack's 2U play. Ruben Amorim, during that game against Grimsby, he was around about 20-1 to be next manager out. He's now 2-1. He's third favourite behind Potter and Espirito Santo. Do you think he could walk? I mean, the value's gone, but that interview, I don't know if you saw it on your stateside, Nigel, but the interview afterwards, I mean, he could walk, couldn't he? I mean, he's 2-1 next coach out.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch it. I didn't see it. I mean, we were trying to get somewhere to watch it, but we didn't. Didn't watch it. But we were following it on the phone, and they got. I mean, it's incredible because it's just gone crazy again in the space of 2 weeks. Everyone was after the first match of the season, the performance against Arsenal, and they're going to do something. They're going to buy players. They booked Sesko in. Suddenly they're going to be all right, and they played all right against Fulham. They should. They've had a fast start.
First 20
they
minutes.
missed a penalty. They hit the post. They played all right. They could have been 2-0 up after 20 minutes, but obviously that performance there. But then he put out a good side. He put out a very, very good side. The one thing that I couldn't understand, I mean, Sesko, he's the centre forward. He's the big hope for him. He took the 10th penalty. The last.
That's
that's your centre forward. I couldn't get my head around that. But they've got problems. They've got problems all over the pitch. They've got problems with the manager. But they stuck with him last season, and it was a lot of bad times last season. And he's given the money. I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he's going to go because who are you going to get? Who are they going to get?
Well, this is it. I don't know. It's just that he looks so down about it all and suggesting that the players are just not playing for him. Look, we'll get Nigel's lean on this one, but Jack has got a 2U play on this game. I mean, United are now minus 265. They were minus 320, something like that. Do we give Burnley a squeak here? What's your 2U play, Jack?
Well, you've got to give anyone a squeak against Manchester United at the moment, haven't you? Anyone over the last couple of seasons, really, to be honest. It's a bit of a tested route that we've taken from last season, really. I've just gone for under 1 first half Asian goals at plus 106. So a plus money play on it. Improved performances, we said at the start of the season from Manchester United, but failed to score. Own goal, of course, for the goal they did score against Fulham. Bruno missed a penalty. Could it get any worse? Yes, of course it could. It's Man United at this moment in time. Of course it gets worse. They go to a League Two side, fourth tier side, go 2 goals down, somehow manage to get back. And then the penalty shootout couldn't have gone any worse. They've got the chance of Cunha, a new signing, marquee signing, get the winning penalty, and he misses it. And then the person that effectively misses the final penalty, which knocks them out, is Mbeumo, their other big signing. So and then as Nigel said, as a Manchester United striker, you need someone with confidence. You need someone who's got the ability to puff their chest out. Back in the day, Eric Cantona, Mark Hughes, all those kind of players that we've seen down the years that will go and grab the ball to hide and take the 10th penalty, effectively the last available one, does not scream, I'm a confident striker that's going to carry this price tag and show I'm the guy that's going to turn the fortunes around to Manchester United. It seems like a guy who's not that confident and is going to hide a little bit and could crumble if he misses a couple of chances, like we've seen with most of the players they've signed recently. And I think they've brought players in, I've said before, that were great in their individual sides, but they all kind of want the same thing. They all want to be the guy on the ball. Fernandes is that role. Cunha wants to get on the ball, dictate play, take free kicks, take the penalties. Mbeumo, the same for Brentford. And they're all a bit of in the same swimming in the same pool at the moment. And it's a little bit of a mess. So I think for Burnley, the plan under Scott Parker here is go to Old Trafford, dampen any kind of infusing there is early doors, keep it tight, and get the crowd edgy, transmit to the Man United players to get edgy, and then look to, say, nick something later on in the game. So the under one first half Asian total for me at plus 106. Obviously, if there is a goal, we've got the safety net, we get a full refund on it. But say those stats basically over the last sort of year or so of a lack of goals in those first halves is basically the reason that I've taken this one on. And so with the safety net of that one, meaning that we get that refund. If there is one, obviously we cash with 0.
That's the 2 you play from Jack. I mean, Nigel, nobody in their right mind is backing United at minus 265 here. Are we looking at, let's not look at gift horse in the match. We've got to get with Burnley. I mean, last season, I think a lot of bettors were late to the party. They started to fade United maybe too late. I mean, if this is any other club from Burnley, are we just thinking, let's just fade United somehow, whether it's goals or on the Asian line?
Well, there was a big market move for Burnley in the opening day of the season against Tottenham. There was a market negative. So the Asian syndicates do like Burnley, and there was a big market move for Burnley in their home match against Sunderland. So they are popular with the syndicates. My worry is that Scott Parker's quite a negative manager. I think if he's negative in his approach to games, especially going away to Man United. But this is a time where he's got to say, come on, we've got to get at them. We've really got to get at them. We can beat this lot easy if we give their defence is a chocolate fire guard. The goalkeeper's Dracula's better at crosses than he is. So they've got to get at him. They've got to get, but I'm not quite sure he will. I'm just worried about Scott Parker's approach to this match. So I'm looking around. There was ways I was trying to get with, Burnley on the Asian handicap was obviously a decent way to get with it. But I just thought, bit similar to Jack's really. I thought under 2.75 goals at minus 113. Man United have only goal this season has been an OG. Sesko clearly to me, a young player with a big future coming there with all the pressure on him. Højlund, you see what happened to Højlund. Everyone said he was going to be the next Haaland. He's not even the next Steve Wiss. I mean, he's absolutely he's gone, isn't he? I mean, he's done all the pressure been on him. So I think under goals is the way to go. Under 2.75. I did send before I went away. I'm doing this match on the Insider, and I sent my bet across to Steve to Paul before I flew yesterday, so he get to work. I quickly took it away last night. It was Man United to win to 0. That was gone. That disappeared. But I think under 2.75. But looking at the Man United manager job, just go back very quickly on that. I mean, the favourites Gareth Southgate. I mean, is that an upgrade? I mean, this is crazy. And the second favourite is Michael Carrick. Now, I think Michael Carrick will be a good call here because whoever's going to go in there, you've got, Glasner's linked with it. He's not going to leave Crystal Palace to go to Man United because you can't spend any money. The transfer window's over in a week, so you've got to get someone like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, like sort of equivalent to steady the ship, and that man is Michael Carrick, and then try to get someone in after Christmas or something. But But you've got to remember, last week a week ago, we were sitting here saying Man United are going to have a good season. They played really, really well, and they're banker material to beat Fulham. This shows you the first part of the season, things change. If they win this 3 or 4-0, everyone will forget Grimsby. If Sesko scores 2 goals, they will. They'll forget it. It's a League Cup. They'll say it was a League Cup. It'll move on. It'll move on.
I know what you're saying.
But we're only 2 games in.
Yeah, it is incredible. I mean, Carrick, I think, was in charge for 3 games, wasn't he? They were unbeaten. Was it 2 draws and a win or something like that? Look, obviously, the United Grimsby result is going to be spoken about for at least another 24 hours. And while people are thinking about it, not that I'm a politician or anything, let's just whack up the P&L of the boys here. Let's see if we can bury some bad news amongst the Man United Grimsby chat. Here's the boys' P&L for the season so far. I forgot to do it right at the top, and John has just at me saying, make sure you get it in. But people are still thinking about United.
The one thing I would say Grimsby will be a fade on Saturday. I don't know if they're playing, but I think there'll be a fade on Saturday. League 2.
Yes, yeah, it'd be an interesting one. I mean, I know that Jack talked about them on the live show, didn't we? I was just messaging you guys, and they're doing very, very well in League 2. We have spent far too long on Manchester United versus Burnley, so I want some quick leans from you both on Leeds, Newcastle here. Leeds got a squeak here, Nigel. Gordon suspended, share out, concussion, plus 245. Could they get something?
Yeah, Joe Linton, Isaac, obviously, Tonali, lots of five players out. Gordon suspended, as you said. There is a squeak. I quite like the goal line. I thought goals over 2.75, over 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 129. I think Leeds. I think this will be a good match. It'll be good. Leeds at home is always a cracking match. Newcastle playing very, very well, but not getting the results they deserve. Brilliant against Aston Villa, 0-0 draw. So unlucky against Liverpool, but all the courage they showed to fight back and then conceding the way they did. If they had a striker, they'd be on 6 points. That's the difference. But Newcastle fans, nothing to worry about. But I do think here, those injuries is a bit of a worry. This could be a slight lean towards Newcastle on the Asian handicap plus a quarter, but I would prefer to bet goals. I think goals in this match over 2.5, minus 129.
Jack?
Under 2.5 goals, plus 104. Oh, going head to head again. Yeah, we might have to have a little wager on this if there's 2. So I think this is a little bit on a Nigel theory, actually, to be fair, with once the team's been hammered one week, that they'll kind of look to keep it tight the next. And I know it was away at Arsenal and this is at home. But I think there's a pressure under Farker that he's got this carefree attitude and will just go at teams and get picked off. And I think he's conscious that he can't be dubbed as that again. And my concern for Newcastle is, who are they going to have to make up their team? They've got no striker. Gordon's now obviously out as well. Who are they going to bring in? Are they going to go with a false 9 or a Sulu coming in who's not quite at this level, to be fair? And Leeds battered away at Everton without creating too much clear cut, and it might be a set-piece situation for them, of which Newcastle are pretty strong with their defence, even without Share. So, lots of injuries and concerns for Newcastle. Disjointed. I think Eddie Howe will look to keep Leeds quiet for a while, so I have gone under 2.5 goals at plus 104 as a lean.
Gordon and Share, when they miss games, it's an upswing for overs. So I'm Team Nigel for this one. I'm backing overs. You pleased about that, Nigel?
Yeah.
No, back to us.
Back to us.
I'm weighing in with Nigel's pick here.
Yeah. Just
Forest,
me, go for it.
That game, incidentally, 12:30 Eastern. Let's move on to the Sunday games. And this was nearly double dog. This was nearly a jumbo hot dog. It's not quite. Forest West Ham. Forest at minus 152. West Ham plus 410. Draw plus 290. West Ham in a world of trouble. We have got Jack's hot dog first up. Mr. Wright.
This is the one that just leapt out of the page at me. Normally you get your 2-unit player come out. This was the one for me that I wanted all day long. Chris Wood to score a header is the play. Plus 500 is a very, very big price. West Ham just looks so fragile. They look all over the place. Obviously, there's friction now as well. Jared Bowen nearly climbing over the hoardings to have a go at the supporters. He's since apologised, of course, but the goals they've conceded are shocking. 11 goals across the 3 games across all competitions, 8 in the league. And they've conceded 4 headers already this season. And it's just alarming when you consider they've got quite tall centre-backs. I was speaking to a West Ham fan today, actually, and said, considering what we've got, we just look unable to deal with anything into the box. And Nottingham Forest have provided the most crosses into the box of any side so far in the Premier League this season. 41 crosses in 2 games they've piled into the box. And West Ham have conceded 7 headed attempts a goal. Only Forest actually have allowed more than that. So we should see some headers from both ends, really, to be fair. But yeah, as I say, when you look at the players that have scored those goals, they're not even the biggest or the strongest or tallest players. The likes of João Pedro scoring a header from a corner. They also conceded 2 more goals from corners in that Chelsea game as well, didn't they? So just look to be all over the place, even at set pieces. And there's probably no better side than Forest to take advantage of that. As I said, they've put the most crosses into the box as well, but they are a threat from set pieces. They've got other players as well as Chris Wood. But looking at Chris Wood, he already got a couple of goals so far this season. And when we looked at him last season, 25 headed shots was the most of any, it was the 4th most of any person in the Premier League. But he scored 8 headed goals last season from his 20 in total, a very high percentage. And that was the most by any player in the Premier League. Double that of his nearest challengers, Erling Haaland and Alexander Isak. Shows you the strength he has got in that particular part of his game. Put him up as a hot dog at the back end of last season. Matchday 36, he was plus 375 to score a header against Leicester. And it was exactly the same reasons that I put it up that day. And plus 500, an even bigger price. I just absolutely had to get all over it.
I say it was nearly a double dog because, Nigel, you also like Chris Wood.
Yeah, I think the way that Jack has started off the season, which is obviously going to turn, I'm not saying, but he's gone for a hot dog at 5-1 already after match day 3. That just shows you the state of the frame set, the mindset of Jack. I just basically went for him to score. I think it's him to score at any time or him to score the first goal. Chris Wood. I mean, West Ham have all the reasons Jack said there. They just can't defend. I mean, 11 goals conceded in 3 matches. The goalkeeper, I mean, he's all over the place. He makes Onana look like Dino's off. I mean, if that's for our players, Pete Shilton or whatever. But anyway, he's absolutely he's all over the place. Defensively, they're a shambles. Both of these managers are the 2 favourites to be managed to be sacked. So whoever loses this could find themselves under pressure. Obviously, West Ham, the board are backing him, and Nottingham Forest for Nuno. The board aren't speaking to him. It's two quite different situations here. But it's all about Wood for me. Last season, 20 goals in the Premier League, 13 he scored at home out of those 20 matches in games, and he scored the first goal in 7 matches. He scored the first goal for Nottingham Forest last season. So plus 310, very, very close. This was to becoming my hot dog, but I just left it out. Because obviously Jack's got the heady player, and we could have smashed our way out of trouble with a heady first goal after 3, but the smashing out stakes are about match day 25-30. But no, we'll leave that to a bit later on.
We've got Leeds in the Brighton City game for you here. Another Sunday 9 a.m. game. City are minus money favourites. This is my favourite winning system. It's going to be put to the test. Brighton 17 games unbeaten in the Premier League when having less possession than their opponents. Surely they won't have that much of the ball against City, and that does include a win and a draw over Man City. They're even money, Nigel, the Seagulls, plus half a goal start. That's bet the weekend. You following me in?
But I like good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Both of these sides underperforming on the metrics as well this season. If you look at their metrics, both of them should be doing a lot better. Brighton, I think they'd be very disappointed with the start they've had there. A lot of people expected them to break in the top 6. They're not putting the ball in the back of net, and they're missing Pedro, I think. This season, obviously, Chelsea are relishing with him being there, but I think they're missing him. But I do think this game's the way they match up and the way they play. I do think there's goals in this match, and I think that Man City are one of the best teams over the years for bouncing back over a disappointing defeat. If you look when they've lost a big game, there was start last season when they went on a run, but I think that was a blip last week. Oh, they dropped me, but I think that was a bit of a blip last week. I still think they're a lot better than what they were last season. You know, we were talking again a week in Rangers. We said we were going to be the top. Now Father Christmas don't even want reindeers, does he? I mean, we said he was going to be the PFA Player of the Year at the start of the year. Now Santa Claus don't even want him. But I mean, it's changing the fortunes in 1 week. But I'm going to go for goals. I think over 3 goals here, minus 104. I expect Haaland to bounce back. I expect Brighton in front of their crowd, a team they know, a manager the star of the player that these two like. Your reasons as well, not having a possession. I think it's game that's goals. Over 3 goals, minus 104. And Jack's going to go under 3 goals at minus 110. Is he?
Well, I don't think he is, Mr. Seeley. Go on, Jack. Go on.
Over 3 A's in total. We agree.
Hey,
we agree on one. There we go. So this is the one
late.
to get. Okay, easy, Tiger. Yeah, for those reasons, really, I think this is stylistically brilliant. Brighton will go at Man City. Man City will love that. They can crack on. And also, when they're attacking, Brighton will look to exploit on the counter-attack as well. A real history of goals between the two sides. And although a manager's changed at Brighton, not much has changed as far as their kind of template is concerned. So, and I say, I think City are already in that position where they can't really afford to be dropping too many more points already because of the sides that are ahead of them. They don't want to be going in the international break like 6 points off the top, as it could well be. So yeah, I think the over 3 Asian totals in play, 2-2 and 2-1 last season. The last 13 league meetings between the sides have seen 48 goals. That's an average of 3.69. This bet's won 8 occasions, had 3 pushes and just 2 losses. So yeah, for me, I will be going with Nigel over 3 Asian total.
Big game of the weekend. We alluded to it right at the top of the show. It's Liverpool versus Arsenal, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Liverpool are favourites, plus 118. Arsenal plus 225. There's been a little bit of support for the Gunners. Draw plus 245. Liverpool winless in 6, Nigel, in the league against Arsenal. Last 3 Premier League games at Anfield between the two have been draws. There's always a lot of goals between these two for the last decade. 78 in 20 games, more than any other Premier League fixture. Is this going to be another cracker? Is it a title decider? How are we tackling Liverpool, Arsenal? You've got your hot dog here.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing, when I looked at the prices about an hour and a half ago, it was plus 112 Liverpool and plus 245 Arsenal. And I don't believe that the price discrepancy between the two should be that vast than what we've seen at the start of the season and what we saw in the Community Shield as well. Liverpool have a big, big problem conceding goals, and Arsenal will come here and they'll try to put the pressure on them to try to exploit that situation. The other thing here, though, Arsenal don't have a great record at Anfield. I know there's been a lot of draws over historically. I mean, there was that famous incident in the documentary where he was playing You'll Never Walk Alone in the car park to try to get people, which is still one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Arteta. But that cancels that out. Liverpool are virtually unbeatable at home as well. You know, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, incredible record at home. Obviously drawing matches, but they don't necessarily get beat. I said it at the beginning of the show, we've seen this so many times. How many times we've seen Arsenal start well, they're going to be the real deal, they're going to do well, they're looking great, and then all of a sudden September, October comes, 2 key injuries, problems, but they've got a big squad and they give Eze an opportunity today. I'm not sure this is, and hope to be wrong, but I think Eze should be put in at home against a weaker side where they could win 3 or 4 and he can swagger around the pitch and get a bit of confidence. He goes missing a little bit in big matches, Eze. He did it for Crystal Palace. He's done it for England. When England brought him on a sub in the Euros, he didn't really do much at all. But again, when you're a -$3 favourite, he will look like a world beater at the Emirates. So I don't think he'll start. I think he'll be on the bench. But I was so impressed with Arsenal last week. I just can't see him going to Liverpool not scoring. So there's got to be goals in this match. That's the first thing we've got to say. But the goal line is high. It's 2.75. It's -110. You could bet that. But looking through this match, historically, so many draws. Last season, both of them ended 2-2. 3 of the last 6 matches between the two of them has ended in the Desmond 2-2. I think that's a big price, the old 2-2 here, if you want to bet that as a correct score bet. But my hot dog here is just to be a draw at plus 245. The week before an international break, 2 games into a new season, nobody get really injured. Timing right hasn't come around. You'd want to see these two play for the first time just before Christmas. I think both of them will be absolutely delighted with a draw. They're the best 2 teams in the country by some distance currently at this moment in time. And I think to get plus 245, the draw, the biggest outcome of the 3, is a little bit of value in a fixture that historically has lots of draws. So that is my hot dog, the draw, Liverpool-Arsenal.
Plus 950 for 2-2. I mean, you always think that they should be tight, but there's always a lot of goals with these two play, even when they have been title rivals as they have been over the last couple of seasons. Jack, what do you think? Is the market right? Is there any value?
Well, I initially put Arsenal plus half a goal down, and it was -136. I just then checked to see where it had gone to. It's now like -140 odds, so I'd move the line to plus quarter of a goal, 0.25. It's -109. I quite like the draw in this one as well, but getting Arsenal on side because of just how vulnerable Liverpool have looked, and I quite like what I've seen from Arsenal in those forward areas, and I think it's about time. Liverpool have kind of got out of jail in both games this season, to be honest. And even against 10 men, they were penned back. I know it was away, but they were penned back by a Newcastle side that didn't have Isak, didn't have those strongest players. And I know Arsenal are going to be missing a couple as well, but I just wanted to get that kind of Arsenal result on side. So, quarter of a goal start, -109 was what I put forward now. I've also got another pick in this one on a more of a goals angle in the insider.
It's going to be an interesting one. Should be a really good game. Just a word on Calafiori and Timber. Both have got 3 goal involvements this season. If we think that Liverpool are vulnerable fullback-wise, they potentially could take advantage. Plus 650 for
someone for your
Timber,
dream team. Then one of those two, maybe. We haven't mentioned
I
the
don't know. Look,
fantasy Premier League
to score or
this
assist.
week.
If you think that there's a bit of vulnerability at that foot. I mean, Kirkus just hasn't kicked on at all, has he? And Szoboszlai possibly playing right back again. Who knows? We'll find out on Sunday. Final game to wrap things up here. Just got a couple of leans for you. This is 7 p.m. local, which is a bit of an odd time for a game in the UK at least. It's 2 p.m. Eastern. It's Villa against Palace. Villa -112, Palace plus 360. Jack, you can go first here because you've been massively on the. I mean, the Villa have cost you big time. Are you sticking with them here? They're minus money favourites. Are we still on the Villa? A lot of Villa fans in the chat. Let us know what you think. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, sorry lads, I've come off the Villa train now. I'll give it a break. You'll probably be delighted.
You pulled
to
the
hear.
emergency cord.
I've stopped off. So I'm not backing them this time round. This was supposed to be on Friday night in the UK, which is why it's been moved because of Palace now being in the Conference League, and they weren't obviously originally supposed to be there, and because they had it on live TV, they've shunted it back to the Sunday evening. So we get some late action in the UK on that one before the international break. My bet in this one, I've gone under 2.5 goals at -118. Just because Villa aren't quite firing, as we've already said, not conceding really many and not scoring any. Although they're getting chances, it's just not quite clicking for them. Are they missing Rashford and Asensio? When they really kicked on at the back end of last season, they were kind of stretching sides. They haven't really made any signings. There's now talk of a massive bid coming in for Rodgers as well, £80 million going in from Chelsea and another side, I can't remember who, going for him. So there's a lot of kind of disruption going on there. Unai Emery's struggling to kind of get things to click. And it seems that if you refuse to kind of engage in that press that Villa want you to, then they come a little bit short of ideas. And Glasner at Palace had Villa's number last season. Obviously, they beat him in the FA Cup semi-final, and they beat him in the last time in the league, and quite convincingly as well. But I just feel, although those games had goals in them, I think this one will be a lot tighter. So the Palace games have been tight already this season as well, the 0-0 and the 1-1. And, of course, they play in Europe on Thursday night. So the reason this game has been pushed back further. So that will have an impact because they're still in that tie, still in the balance. No Eze, of course, which is massive. It just seems to be falling on Mateta and Sarr to be kind of the catalyst for them. And I just think they're not quite at their best at the moment. Still a tough nut to crack, which makes the unders appealing for me. So under 2.5 goals, -118 for me. All 5 of Villa's and Palace games across all competitions this season have seen unders with just 4 goals scored in total.
Unbeaten in 5 against Villa. Nigel, Palace, as Jack referenced, that FA Cup meeting in the semi-final, they were really, really good. Are we taking a bit of a flyer with Palace at 3-1 here?
Exactly the same as Jack for the final match, under 2.5 goals. I mean, 4 times they met last. They'd met in the League Cup as well, the Carabao Cup, and Palace beat them there. Palace just had their number last season. Villa had a brilliant season last season, but Palace were the team that they're their nemesis. Glasner knows what to do against his side. All the reasons Jack said there. No Eze. Life without him is going to be difficult for them to change. I was at the game against Chelsea. They defended resolutely. They're 3 at the back and just soaked everything up that they had to offer Chelsea. And I think they could do the same against a Villa side that are struggling for goals here. Struggling hasn't scored this season. Really, really struggling for anything at the moment, Villa. A team that maybe we have to have a rethink on, in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And if they don't change it after the international break, there's certain teams that we still hold. Give them a couple of chances, but Villa could be that first team that we may have a major rebase on. They may not be a top 6 side. They could be a mid-table side here. Up against a Palace side who potentially could be better than them. if we look at the end of the season. So I think here, every match our season went over 2.5 goals. Every single match went both teams to score. Yes, Palace were unbeaten in the 4, but this time around, Palace have Champions League, not Champions League, they have the Europa Conference League, on a Thursday, travelling back from Norway. A very, very small squad that is depleted by the loss of Eze as well. They're going to have to come to terms with that very, very quickly. And big teams, have seen like teams like Villa, teams like Tottenham, teams like Manchester United couldn't cope last season with it. Palace will struggle, and I think this here looks like a very, very, very good under 2.5 bet. And it was one of my bets that I was very close to put in as my 2U or 1U, very close to making the grade. So under 2.5 goals, minus 118 the bets.
Like exactly the same. I nearly made it. It was nearly my
So what we're saying, you're betting under 2.5. Yeah. That's what we're saying. I know a lot of people talk. I mean, look, we joke about the P&L. Like loads of the leans have been absolutely fine, and I think Jack had all 4 on Saturday. It's just one of those things. But the boys are going to be.
He won't be getting the lean on the over 2.5 in the Sunderland match this week. That's the one he won't get.
Yeah. I hope not.
Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. Nigel, you're in New York until when? What content can we expect?
I'll be on there on the because I'm at the tennis now. Going to the tennis now. So we're going to the US. I'm going to tennis Sunday at Oasis on Monday in the MetLife, and then I'm going to some college football game tomorrow, the Army match upstate. So lots of content on there on the socials at Because Weird. And obviously me and Sean are doing Benny Weekly Game Bet Match. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest edition of that, where things are going well over there on the US Open. And myself and Rory will be on Benny Weekly WTA on Saturday. So even though I'm out here, I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning doing the research in a cramped room, trying to do everything, not with my headphones on, in unfamiliar surroundings, haven't got my funnies at the moment, trying to get the microphone to work, trying to stop people next door on the door because I'm making noise. I'm doing all that for you guys, so please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
It's the smallest
my heart
ever.
Bleeding's not come through my shirt, has it?
Yeah, it's the smallest ever violin. I can't quite find it. We've got the live show for Saturday, 9 a.m. Of course, team news reaction, market movements, best prop bets. Are you on that as well, Nigel? Well, you're absolutely slacking. What's wrong with you? It's an absolute disgrace.
Nathan, James Easton, and Steve Wiss.
Yeah. Oh, an eclectic mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Norwich must be at home again, Jack.
No, they're not. No. Nigel's in New York. I'm in Newcastle.
Well, there you go.
And Jackson and Dan's in a new job.
What am I doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing on Saturday. I am commentating on Barrow versus Fleetwood for Sky. So tune in. We need the audience. What have we got? That's it. That's your lot. Don't forget the midweek show live 11 a.m. Eastern. Follow us at Because We Win. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. No show next week because it is the first international break, of course, of the new campaign. But as all the boys have suggested, an awful lot of content still on our YouTube channel and beyond. From all of us, for now, though, have a good betting weekend. Hopefully it'll be a profitable one. We'll see you in a fortnight's time for the Premier League show.